She's been featured on numerous albums, including that of summer nominee Lwanda Gogwana Mbokodo Award winner for Best Female in Jazz, Thandi Ntuli. Well, that's Umlazi-born jazz singer and songwriter Spha Mdlalose, who to date has performed alongside Yvonne Chaka Chaka, Micasa, Mthukudzi, Muyanga, Zwai, Bala and Sibongile Khumalo, to name just a few. Now, Mdlalose is currently in Johannesburg as part of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz's Geleza and Learn business workshops. And she joins us now to tell us more about her projects. A very good morning to you, Spha. So good to see you.
Thank you so much. Good morning to you too.
Well, it's so good to see you. And what are you working on at the moment, and when can we expect an album from you?
Oh, goodness. You can expect an album in July, or on the 19th to be specific. This is an album that I've been working on for the past couple of years, so quite excited and anxious that it's finally going to be out.
Do you want to give us a sneak peek into the album? You know I was going to ask you that question, right?
Like right in the beginning of the interview, I thought you'd give me a little bit of leeway. But I can sing you a snippet of my single. It's called Lefatshe. It's out on all digital platforms. Yeah. Okay. Lefatshe amuhela batu bohle munsumuswebu batu kaufela. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Now I get an idea.
Yeah,
I get an idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so what direction will your sound be taking, and who did you work with?
Okay, so I studied jazz music at the University of Cape Town, but I like to think of myself as someone who's influenced by a host of different sounds. So I grew up on gospel music, for instance, on African music as well. So the sound is definitely influenced by all of those sounds as well. So it's jazz, African music, gospel. I would say those are predominantly the sort of influences.
You know, Spha, I'm curious to know, you just mentioned that you studied jazz music. So what difference does that make to the incredible talent that you have already?
I think it just empowered me, empowered me with knowledge, to be able to know what it is that I'm doing when I'm practicing and going about my career. And I think it also lended itself to me being involved in things like Geleza, which is something that I was sort of very, very honored to be a part of. It's a 2-day workshop. In previous years it had been sort of a workshop that they would do over a week, but they condensed it this year and had 2 guest speakers, of which I was one. And I think it was great to share with young musicians, particularly because I have the experience of being in the industry, but also because I come from a background that is academic. Yeah.
I mean, how has that empowered you as a person personally and as a musician, being part of the Standard Bank Geleza workshop?
Goodness, I think mostly because my role was to share. It was beautiful to be in a space where I was speaking to, fellow musicians or young musicians who would go through the same struggle. Sure. So I would say something and it would immediately resonate, and they would be like, yes, I know the struggle. So it was a beautiful time of sort of sharing, giving advice. They would also ask me questions. I would be challenged. So I think in that sense, I was really empowered to sort of take that information and carry on to use it in my career.
I mean, for having been part of this particular workshop, what are some of the subjects or theme that you're just going to go and run with it?
Okay, so essentially I'd been asked to speak about multiple streams of income and something that is particularly close to my heart because, I'm a jazz artist living in this time and this age, and I know full well from personal experience the tough industry that we're in. So I spoke about the different ways in which we can leverage from our different talents. So not just our performance talents, but really was asking, those who are in attendance, what other skills they have that can assist them in creating an ecosystem where they can earn money.
Spha, what is that one thing that you wish someone had advised you on before you embarked on your musical journey?
Oh goodness, I think the thing that probably rings true is to do me. So stay true to the essence of myself, to not be influenced by other people, but to stay true to my voice.
I'm battling to come up with questions as I listen to your music in the background.
It's distracting.
It is, right? But distracting, but it takes me into a world I've never been to before. Anyways, what are some of your career highlights?
Goodness, there's so many to mention. I think when you're reading off my bio, definitely working with Sibongile Khumalo. It was my first time working with someone who I'd admired for such a long time. And it's a beautiful story. She was doing a tour. I was in Cape Town at the time, and I'd heard about the tour, and I just said to myself, I have to be part of this tour. So I emailed her people, and they were like, okay, cool. And I said, can I do a Skype audition, because I wouldn't be able to fly to Joburg. And they were like, no, Mom Sibongile is actually in Cape Town, so do you want to just meet up with her tomorrow and do breakfast?
Is it?
And I was like, huh, what?
Sure.
So that happened, my dad dropped me off because I didn't have a license at the time, so it's quite a funny story. But I got to have breakfast with Khumalo, and she was gracious and amazing. And we chatted about things other than music. And then at the end of it, she was like, okay, cool, I just want to hear what you sound like. So, we can say I auditioned you. And so I think that's one of the things that stick sort of in my mind, especially because I was young at the time. But there's a range of things. I mean, most recently, I got to perform at former President Thabo Mbeki's 77th birthday.
Oh, really?
That was spectacular, and he was also just gracious, also a lover of jazz music as well. So I've really been blessed to have a really great career.
There's nothing stopping you, Naspa, is there?
Yes, no, nothing. Take over.
Yeah, the world is your oyster, girl.
Yeah,
Go for it.
Yeah,
Thanks for chatting to us, eh?
Thank you so much for having me.
Cool stuff. Now, Spha Mdlalose is a jazz singer, songwriter, speaking to us about her musical journey, as well as being a part of Standard Bank Joy of Jazz's Geleza and Learn business workshops. Well, she spoke to us about the multiple streams of income as a musician. And do stay with us. We'll have more from her in just a moment.